Welcome back to Area Diesel Service. Today we have another new and exciting collaboration with everybody's favorite YouTube content creator, DieselCreek. If you're not familiar with DieselCreek, then you've just been born, or you have what's it called when you don't have a memory? You have amnesia, or I don't know, you've been living under a rock. If that's the case, go over there, check him out, tell him that we sent you. Matt is absolutely a founding father of the Shmoo Fighters non-for-profit organization, and he has devoted his life to wasting money on clapped out relics and keeping them out of the scrapyard. On today's episode, and inside of this box, as I understand it, is a turbocharger. And this turbocharger is off of a 2018 case CX80 excavator. And you may know this if you follow Matt's channel as one of his primary daily driver kind of utility machines. So he uses this thing all the time. It is a fairly new acquisition. Matt bought this machine from our good friends over at CNC Equipment. So Clint has also been involved in this machine. We're talking about an 18,000 pound excavator. I believe Matt's machine's got 1,500 hours on it. Powered by an Isuzu 4JG1 direct injected turbocharged diesel engine, checking in at about 189 cubic inches of engine displacement. That is about 3 liters for those of you on the logical system, cranking out about 52 horsepower. It may strike you as odd to find an Isuzu engine in a piece of case construction equipment. Keep in mind that this is a machine manufactured under the private label type of arrangement by a Japanese company called Sumitomo. They make a variety of different machines for many different companies, many of which we're more familiar with than Sumitomo themselves. It's kind of like the arrangement with Large Marge, if you remember. Large Marge was powered by a Deutz, and that's because she was manufactured by Poclane in a much different part of the world. We don't know much of the story other than she went short on power, and Matt pulled it into the shop, took the crane over to it, opened it up, and had a look, and discovered that the turbocharger was seized up, as we've been told. Never a good symptom or condition to have your turbocharger plumb locked up. Fortunately, like I mentioned, Matt bought this excavator from Clint over at CNC Equipment, and every piece of used machinery that Clint sells has a lifetime, no questions asked warranty from bucket tooth to counterweight. So today's ticket is going to be on Clint. Okay, enough blabbling. Let's slice her open and have a look. Oh boy. Good thing we opened her very, very carefully, because we've got some swag, and we did not even hardly cut it in half. Nice. Nailed it. Hang it. Okay, we got her sliced open, we got our work area cleaned up, and we are performing our initial observation once we figure out how to get our flashlight shut off. All right, what do we have? This is a wastegated IHI turbocharger. This, I think, is probably a new brand for us to cover on our YouTube channel. IHI is actually based right down the road in Shelbyville, Illinois, and they've been around for a long, long time. I won't pretend to know the full story. At some point, there was some mutual interest with Borg Warner, and they were known as Warner Ishii. But today in the turbo world, we refer to them as IHI, and they operate independently as their own manufacturer. They are a tier 1 supplier to OEM engine builders. So as suspected, I believe they are a Japanese company. Since this excavator has a Japanese engine, it would stand to reason that we would find an IHI turbo on it. I don't think they're globally based right down the road in Shelbyville, but stateside operation is right down the road. It's a little bitty baby compressor wheel inducer in maybe the 1-inch variety. I can't even perform the farmer test because I can't get enough fingers in there to operate on it, but it is seized up. All right, so if I get her in from both ends, I can reach in and I can turn the shaft inside of her, frees up, and then binds up. So something is definitely wrong, but at first glance, everything's intact. The wheels don't appear to be completely busted and in there sideways. We will transfer this back to the turbo shop along with a write-up sheet with customer information, and we will run the gamut on this turbocharger. So we'll probably give you one of those updates throughout the process of repair, but it'll be very similar to what you've seen us do before, right? Transfer it back, tear it down, have a gander, clean it up, inspect it, see what can be done, develop a game plan, estimate the repairs, get approval from the customer, slap it back in shape, and then we'll meet you back at the parts counter and we'll wrap this thing up. So follow along.
All right, I already removed the airline and I already marked the housings. So they put their actuators on kind of in reverse. Instead of it being under and then up, they like to put them that way.
Trying to wrestle that little clip off of the actuator.
It's moving.
There she blows.
I put this up in my special collection. So at least we know the actuator works, or else we would have heard it bleeding out.
Let's look at that connection that you just... Is it still seated pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, it looks like we're missing a stud, or at least the stud came out, which is good.
Yeah, there was an elbow on there that he peeled off before he sent it.
And then there was probably a heat shield.
Broken bolt.
Yeah, so there's a broken bolt there. Now, we'll see how lucky we get with those, because it looks like they don't match. Usually they match.
Is it turning free now?
Kinda. I can hear it grinding still. I can also see some lines up on the fins, so it looks very sharp right there. I can feel it rolled over.
The shiny spot?
Yeah, the shiny spots right there. I can still hear it coming down here.
And it's much, much more free than it was. I mean, you couldn't even turn it when the turbine housing was on it. You got contact in there?
Yeah, so you can kind of see the rub line right there. So it's definitely wobbled. It's pretty much all the way around too, so.
I didn't feel any. You can't feel any thrust play in it now.
Pulling back.
You got any play in it?
Not really, other than just me moving.
The one thing we haven't noticed yet is any oil coming out of it anywhere, which is never a good thing.
It does seem very dry. I mean, I can see some up here in the drain. I'm hoping they don't break. The little bolts like to break. Oh, that was so much better.
We should get you like an impact wrench or something.
Yeah. Got to be intimate with the turbo so you get to know.
No, we don't want to hear about your
Got to
intimate turbo relationship.
just got to speak to you. I don't like using that on little bolts.
Bust the head off of them.
Yeah, and then it just more issues later if I was just taking a little bit of extra time. So it's probably an O-ring on here, or it's got this orange sealant stuff, which is why I don't particularly like the IHI style.
It's also dissimilar metals like to corrode, but there is some kind of goop in there. It's got oil inside of the diffuser area, which is never a good sign.
Yeah, and you can definitely like feel it grinding.
Still binding.
Yeah.
So we got oil where we shouldn't. We got one more nut to zip off.
I'm just gonna guess.
Left-hand threads.
I think so. Maybe.
Wasn't real tight, was it? Nope.
So maybe it's less than 50.
Compressor wheel nut off.
It's nice to see you down there.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't try this at home. This is dangerous. I'm gonna put it back on so I don't like destroy the threads. Back it up a little. Try it again.
I'm trying to punch the turbine wheel out of the center of the compressor wheel. Special tool.
Special tool.
Got any lube on it?
A little, but you can definitely see the wear.
And it's discoloration, and you can see material transfer,
Yeah, it's
indicative of lack of lubrication.
I can't even tell if there's a full piston ring on there or not. Looks like it's missing maybe part of the piston ring. This appears the piston ring groove. It looks like it's missing some.
Where's your-
Yeah, some of it's right there. So it could have. I needed to tap that wheel there. It could have.
You might have busted on
Yeah, but
extraction.
the seal there also, right here. That's. It shouldn't have that strong of a lip, I don't believe. So that could have been where it was wobbling back and forth. Yeah, so it was on the back of the wheel too.
There's some schmoo in it, but
And then the wheel here has rubbed as well on the housing. So this striation, which matches up in there for the compressor housing. But see, they're pressed in, and they have this orange sealant inside as well. Mm-hmm. So even though I might be able to get these bolts up and out, that seal plate is what is the issue.
you can do it.
And we're gonna try. I think I'm just destroying the top of these.
All right, well, Eli's going to have to get a little violent here, so
Yeah.
we'll bring you back when we get this thing scattered.
I managed to get the bolts out of that seal plate. I had to drill one. I had to drill the bolt head up and out to be able to get the seal plate out. IHI kind of like glues their seal plates in, and it's not ideal. So with a lot of heat, another set of hands, we were able to get it off. Here's what I'm talking about, like the orange goopy stuff, and then it's up in here as well. So this all gets kind of sealed in. Already came through and took these bolts out. They were a pain in the butt as well. So this part of the thrust bearing was facing down. The highlights is basically scoring from something in the oil itself, bad oil. Here's the washer. Let's see if it picks it up. Lines on it as well. It's kind of like a record. Journal bearing for the turbine side is very small, scoring on the outer diameter and the inner diameter. That would match why we have lines on the shaft. Right there where the bearing rides, we would probably see lines as well. I had to get this really hot, so it's a bit warm still. I'm gonna pop that copper piece out. All right, back. And that piece is removed right here. All it does is hold down the other journal bearing. These bearing housings have a internal spacer, which is that lip you can see in here. That doesn't come out. The oil had been coking in the inlet line, so the crystallized oil made it back up into the turbo, and then it just eroded away. Once that started happening, the wheels were wobbling too much, and that's what we got contact. Two main housings could be cleaned up and reused. The actuator tested okay. The bearing housing would need to work, and then we would need new wheels, guts, steel plate. I call it everything else inside the guts. Just have to see what options they wish to do.
Teardown and inspection complete, and unfortunately, for the sake of content, this dude is illogical to repair. We'll spread some of these parts out and give you a little bit of what happened and maybe why, and then we'll talk about the solution for Matt's excavator. Generalize the failure, we're going to say that it's a lubrication issue. We initially speculated that it might have been a lack of lubrication issue, but when we got the turbocharger opened up, we did find the presence of engine oil inside of the turbo. After inspecting the journals, there are indications of oil contamination, foreign debris in the oil, and the wear on the journals is extremely excessive. It's worn out for sure. I think this thing was like 1,500 hours, and this would be what we would consider a premature failure. We will communicate that back to Matt, let him know, hey, it looks like an oil issue. You should at least change the oil, confirm supply to the turbocharger. Some of these are known for having a hard bent oil feed line, and sometimes that line gets exposed to too much temperature and it cooks the oil inside of it. When that happens, the turbo can ingest some of that soot or carbon, whatever you want to call it, and cause this. So we'll mention that to him as well. This cute little guy is the turbine wheel, and this is the compressor stage. We've done several theory and operations, but exhaust driven here, and then this is fastened to the common shaft, and the exhaust driven turbine wheel turns the compressor wheel, which draws air in and forces it out into your engines. The magic happens right in here, and if you look, this is a journal and this is a journal, and you can see material transfer, and you can see lines that run around the circumference of the shaft radially. So the material transfer is from excessive heat. So this thing has been hot. You can see discoloration in between the journals here. So this turbo's been extremely hot, and it looks like lack of lubrication material transfer, but that would have been just a temporary thing because there was oil present in the turbo. We have seen delayed oil upon startup. So sometimes if there's an issue in the lubrication system, you'll find that oil is delayed before it gets to the turbo. Some type of lubrication related issue caused this turbo to fail. And you can see the amount of play in that journal bearing and shaft is extremely excessive. This little bitty guy should have extremely tight tolerances, and this dude is just plumb clapped out. Clearances inside of the turbocharger became excessive. This is the thrust component out of the turbo in which it controls axial play, and it's smoked as well. This little bitty hole right there, this little bitty hole right here is where the oil is fed to the thrust pad, but there's just a very minor trail, right? So the shaft turns this way, and as the oil is pumped into that cavity, you can see a little trail where it leads up to the pad, and that little trail is evidence of erosion from foreign debris or contaminated oil. But basically, the play and the tolerances and the clearances inside of this turbo became excessive. When the play became excessive, the wheels were allowed to move inside of the bearing housing, and they came out and came in contact with their respective housings. And then that is what we were feeling with the turbo locked or bound up. When we took the turbine housing off of the turbo, it freed up and was spinning quite nicely and didn't really feel excessively worn. But when they're this small, sometimes the farmer test can trick you a little bit. Anyway, that's why it failed. Unfortunately, it's not economical to repair this turbo. It's definitely repairable, 100% repairable. New shaft and repair kit, clean up the housings, write all the journals and all the bearings and seals. No big deal, but just because they're little bitty doesn't mean they're cheap. This wheel is insanely expensive and also hard to get. This is the ideal solution for Matt's turbocharger problem. Brand new, factory, OEM, authentic IHI turbocharger, in stock, out of the warehouse, and ready to go. We'll open this up and just make sure we got the right thing, do a little comparison. All right, we're gonna be a little less dramatic with this opening since there is a new unit inside. Like a fortune cookie. Remove the sealing from oil inlet and oil outlet. And believe it or not, we've had turbos returned where this was not removed. I can see one issue already. Not really an issue, but just something we need to address. So the first issue, this exhaust adapter does not come with the new turbo. So we are going to have to go back to the turbo shop. We will remove this adapter, grab the hardware, clean it up. I do see right in here, I don't know if that's a mounting bolt or a heat shield bolt, but there's a bolt broken off inside of the piece that we need to save. So we'll get that cleaned up, get that drilled out, helicoiled if necessary. The other small issue is in the oil drain. He's got a couple of studs in here, so we'll try and remove those without damaging them and send them back along. Everything else, exhaust connections, wastegate positions, compressor discharge, height, diameter, all of that stuff looks to be lining up just fine. We've got a bag of hardware here, studs and nuts and bolts and gaskets. Looks like it probably has the studs for the adapter connection, so that'll be good. We won't have to worry about that. Does not have the studs for the oil drain. Very nice and thorough installation instructions. Clean it up, pre-lube it, bolt it on, let it idle, check the function. I don't need that. Actually, you probably should read this if you're not experienced in turbocharger replacement. It is all good, valid information. So we'll put that in the box. We'll go clean this up, get the adapter off, pull those studs out, and then throw this stuff back in the box, and we'll get this shipped out to Matt. It's time for the $1 million question as per usual. What did it cost? This turbo is known by Case or CNH as a 474-89786. That is their new part number. And if you add an R it becomes their reman part number. Online, publicly available at full retail, the new unit has a price of $3,165, or the reman variant, $2,820 for that little guy. Doesn't have mention of a core, but I would guess they have a core charge on it. $3,000 from your dealership for that little guy. Area Diesel's price, again, brand new, authentic OEM turbo. This checks in at $948.49. $1,000, still a tremendous amount of money, but in the grand scheme, in comparison to the dealer, for what is the exact same thing, dramatically less. A third of the price. One of the questions we get is, how is it possible that you can sell us that turbo for 1/3 of the price? And it really just comes down to the price that we're able to buy them for, right? We take our cost, we add a certain markup because we are a business for profit. We have mouths to feed. We put on what we believe is a reasonable markup and sell them to you. And in this case, pass along the savings. The overhead for the North American case construction outfit is significantly higher than that you will find at Area Diesel Service. So I don't blame them for having to make a buck, and if they can get it, I don't hold it against them. But one of the value-added services we provide at Area Diesel is a competitive price point, and this is a prime example of a home run sourcing your part through Area Diesel. It's not always like that. I'm not going to tell you we're always 1/3 of the price. I'm not going to tell you sometimes we're not more expensive, but I am serious and truthful and honest. That is the situation on this turbo. So, and for those of you that have been following along with us and our collaborations, you may have seen, or you may not yet have seen, the very prestigious Area Diesel Pause Button Collaboration Award, and we will be issuing one of these plaques to Matt. The concept is to promote the collaborations that we're doing, incentivize the other channels to want to reach out and to continue and do more and more collaborations. So if you haven't seen, we'll drop you a link to the video where we produce this and where we talk about what it represents and why we've done it. We'll box this up and shoot it over to Matt, thinking maybe that cute little compressor wheel would, I don't know. We'll send this stuff back. These are kind of cool and cute. You can find somewhere to hang them, but pause button headed to DieselCreek. If you like the video, do us a big favor. Give us a big thumbs up or drop us a comment down below. Doesn't take but a second, doesn't cost you a dime, really helps out the channel. If you want to support the channel in a little more direct fashion, please head on over to the merch store. We'll drop you a link below. You can find some high quality hats, shirts, gloves, fender covers, what have you. Also, you will now find in the Area Diesel merch store the highly sought after Schmoo Fighters shirt. If you need anything diesel engine related, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. We would appreciate an opportunity to earn your business. You can call us at 800-637-2658. You can log on to our website at areadieselservice.com. You can drop us an email at parts@areadiesel.com. You can stop by any of our locations in Iowa, Illinois, or Indiana, or you can even send us a fax at 217-854-8972, or a letter, or smoke signals, whatever's most convenient for you. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.